All right. Thank you for joining us in the parking lot for our parking lot take. Even though the movie is over,
the conversation's just started.
And that's Brandon.
That's Christian.
And we are fresh out of the movie for our parking lot take of Captain America Brave New World. This is going to actually be a spoiler-free review. This is just a general thoughts.
Yep,
not going to be discussing too much, we're going to give some opinions, but not really get into the nitty-gritty of the movie.
Yes,
so if you're interested in that, please check out our discussion that's going to be going up on Saturday that we're going to be recording.
All the spoilery goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Cap's coming off of Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're seeing him in the mantle for the first time as Cap in action. He's carrying his own movie. I was very pumped for this. Very excited to kind of see. I liked what I saw from Sam as Captain America in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I saw him kind of carry it. I was very excited to see where he's going with it.
Yes. In Brave New World, Anthony Mackie has officially taken up the mantle of Captain America. And we're seeing him work within the new world that we're seeing for the first time. In addition, we're seeing that existing conflict between Captain America and Ross still exists. So the movie plays on a very interesting theme where we have, in the real world, we have Anthony Mackie, taking the mantle from Chris Evans.
Yes.
And in the movie, it's very much addressed that that is something going through Sam's mind. He's taking this mantle of Cap from Steve.
He's filling the shoes.
I love that. I love that it's touched
really
on that. It's
yeah.
really good.
He has some good lines where he's talking specifically about, he's dealing kind of with that mantle aspect of it, and they do play into that very well, and I do kind of like that dynamic.
Yeah. First positive, gotta say. Harrison Ford shows up in this,
He does,
He's not collecting the paycheck.
No.
He's here to act, man.
He is.
He does a really good job. I will say it was a little bit jarring because Harrison Ford's not necessarily trying to reprise this role of William Hurt, Thunderbolt's Ross.
Yes,
this is Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross, right? It's not super, it doesn't feel super related and connected. It's very similar to what they did in Fantastic Beasts when they replaced Johnny Depp with Mads Mikkelsen.
It is very,
right?
Yes, exactly.
It's not super, they're not trying to do the exact same thing, but he's kind of taking the role and he's doing what he can.
Doing his own thing with it, making it his character. It feels like the character, but his iteration of it. And it feels very true to it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do we think of Sam as Captain America?
With what he's given.
With what he was given.
I think he embodies the Captain America role.
Right.
I think he does a really good job at that. I think he's in the suit. I see him in the suit. It feels right. It feels good. I was a little worried that maybe he wouldn't embody it, trying to fill Chris Evans' shoes, but he's not doing that. He is doing his own take as Captain America, but it still feels like Captain America. And I do think he does a really good job with what he's given in this movie.
Not to give too much away, there's a really great conversation that happens between Sam and another character.
Yes.
And there's a really great line that I actually really think embodies what we're seeing with a new Captain America.
Yes, definitely. I think I would agree. I think I know what the scene you're talking about. And it works really well. And it does kind of give me a sense for, I do see Sam moving forward in the MCU, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I wanted to come out of this with. Do I see him moving forward or do I not? I definitely see him having a role in this new MCU that we have moving forward, and I'm glad that they were able to kind of hone in on that.
The majority of the tension in this movie is kind of played off of the relationship between Sam and Ross, President Ross.
And it works really
well. And I think
well.
it does work. I think at the end of the day it does work.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of it is just the acting, because Anthony Mackie is acting his butt off in this role. Harrison Ford, like you said, is also acting his butt off. Like, he shows up, he's not collecting a check, so when you have them in a scene together, they're just doing a really good job kind of riffing off of each other, and it works really well.
Right.
I think they do some really interesting moments in the action with Sam as Captain America, specifically now with the wings. They do some unique stuff with that, and I think it works really sometimes.
It's very evident that this movie pulls from a lot of different sources of inspiration.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It definitely pulls from movies like Civil War and Winter Soldier, which makes sense as a Captain America movie.
Yeah, definitely.
But unfortunately, it does none of them near as good.
No, I would say it's very derivative of a lot of these movies, unfortunately, and it just doesn't meet what we've seen in the past, and it falls short in many areas from what we have expected from quality movies, quality Captain America films that we just love and adore. And it just really falls short in many areas.
Where I think the movie really starts to break down is in the back half of the movie.
Yeah, I would agree.
There is some news out here where we were told of multiple research shoots going in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you do not feel those.
Yeah.
Those are very obvious within the
Yes.
story.
Yeah, I would say so too. Especially towards like the end of the film, there's just some scenes and some shots that just feel shoehorned in that I can only suspect are some of those reshoots. And some movies they hide it well, and MCU movies specifically, because I know there's been reshoots. This one does not. You know, one thing that I really noticed throughout the entire movie, I mean, even though I kind of liked parts of the first half, throughout the whole movie, I noticed the dialogue a lot. What did you kind of think?
The dialogue makes some of the actors seem like they can't deliver lines.
Oh, I would 100% agree.
And it's mind-boggling how these lines are delivered that are supposed to be these funny moments, and they don't land.
Yeah.
And they're awkward. And they were filled with silence in our
Yeah.
theater. Our theater did not laugh once as a collective whole until
like the third act?
the third act
Yeah.
was the first laugh.
Yeah. First time I laughed.
Yeah.
And the first time
an abundant laugh came to the theater.
Yeah. So they were not landing. Some of the dialogue felt very jarring. It takes you out of some of the scenes. And specific characters, I would say, just really got the bad end of the stick with dialogue. I mean, there's a couple of them that it's just like, it's hard. You're trudging through it in these scenes.
Anthony Mackie, especially,
Yes.
is hurt with the dialogue in this
Yeah.
because we know from previous movies what he can do.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's quippy.
Yeah.
He can carry scenes.
And he's trying so hard in this
And
movie,
it is so evident how hard he is trying,
Yes.
and the dialogue is limiting him.
Yeah, it
because it's
is.
just not good.
Yeah, it's just not very good.
And to top it all off, one of the big questions we see in the trailers is the Red Hulk. Now,
Yeah, it's
it
good.
does bug me because I feel like the movie definitely would have benefited of not revealing that and
Yeah,
keeping
I
that
agree.
as a surprise.
Because it's a big moment in the film, and you'll see it when you watch it, but by revealing it in the trailer, it lessens that moment. Like, I didn't feel this big reveal or anything like that. By them, using it in the marketing so much, it does lessen kind of the weight of Red Hulk being in the film. But you feel like in the movie, it should have that weight.
Right. Ultimately, what is going to really hurt this movie, other than the dialogue, some of the CGI and cinematography, and maybe some of the action sequences, is getting compared to just two powerhouse movies.
Yeah.
That is Civil War
Yeah.
and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And those movies both have very interesting mystery involved in those stories. And I'll say this movie has a mystery, and gosh darn it, if you don't put it together, what's going to happen in the first 20 minutes of the movie, it's glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
The compositional decisions of where to place certain scenes reveals make the storyline so obvious.
And I think that's partially, too, why maybe I wouldn't surprise me if some people came out of this thinking like, man, it was a little boring because I figured it out within the first, act of the movie. I knew it was going to happen throughout it. So you're kind of expecting these things to happen. So when they do, you don't feel the weight of it at all. Here's what I'll say coming out of the movie. I was really disappointed. I wasn't mad. I was just so disappointed because I see Anthony Mackie in the role as Captain America. I see Harrison Ford, and there's these moments of potential, and they don't capitalize on it at all. And I just came out so disappointed in kind of what they did with this.
Characters are vastly underutilized in this. The moments when Sam needs to become that symbol of Captain America. Not that Anthony Mackie's not up to the task. The dialogue hurts it. The CGI in the sets, they don't look good towards the back half of the movie, and it just takes you out of it. In these moments, you know what Anthony Mackie's trying to do, and you know what this is supposed to be, and it just doesn't land because the dialogue's not there. But the acting's there.
The potential's there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think it's very fair to judge movies on whether the good is going to outweigh the bad. And I understand that is going to be a very subjective thing. There's going to be things you see that you are going to like more than we will.
Yeah.
There's going to be things that we like that you might not like.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I think the bad outweighs the good in this.
I think, unfortunately, you're right. That's why I think I was so disappointed, because I wanted at least the good to outweigh the bad, and it just doesn't in this movie.
Yeah. This is the first Captain America movie where Sebastian Stan's not a supporting character, and I definitely wanted to feel like the movie wasn't missing out not having Bucky in it.
Yes.
And I'll say, man, it did not do that. I think Bucky would have been a great addition to this.
Yeah.
I think it would have made a lot of sense for him to be in it. I think he would have helped Sam a lot in scenes and dialogue throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Anthony Mackie and Danny Ramirez I don't think it works.
It doesn't work.
They
no.
don't, and I don't know how much of it is Danny Ramirez's fault. I think the dialogue's bad. There's some line delivering choices on Danny Ramirez's part that are just mind-boggling.
I think it is dialogue, but I would go as far as to say I think Danny Ramirez is just not delivering it very well. And I haven't seen him in much else. I've just seen him in a little bit, but I just think he doesn't do a good job with it. He doesn't have a whole lot to work with, but like even Anthony Mackie at times with bad dialogue, it kind of makes it work. Danny Ramirez doesn't.
In a whole movie of Danny Ramirez trying to make us laugh, one character walks on screen and does it in one line.
Yeah, exactly. It just tells you how much he is not delivering in this movie.
So it does beg the question, is he just not delivering the lines well?
Yeah, it could be.
Now, with this being our first official parking lot take, we are coming up with our first official rating system that is going to be congruent with the entire channel of parking lot takes.
Definitely.
So what we come up with is 5 categories that we're going to rate all projects that we go over on. We want to break from the norm and not do a numbered system.
Yes.
We want to follow that format somehow. So what we've come up with is at the top tier, the best movie we could ever recommend that you need to see right now if you haven't.
Yes.
This is cinema.
This is cinema, yeah. Right under This is Cinema is going to be, gosh, what a film.
What a film.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It feels good. It's great.
You still need to see it.
Yes, exactly.
Right under that, we have It's a Movie.
Yeah, it's a movie.
These are reserved for your popcorn flicks. They're totally worth watching. They're fun. They're a good time, but you can't give it this is a film.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good in It's a Movie.
You just lean back and say, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Underneath It's a Movie is going to be straight to streaming. This is for the ones where you're like, I don't know if it's worth seeing in theaters. This fits more in kind of a streaming service. Watch it on your couch if you got some free time, maybe just for a good time.
When you can pause it and yell at the TV.
Exactly. You can pause it, pick out all the bad parts, and just,
And even in straight to streaming, there's some gems there.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that's worth watching.
There's some guilty pleasures.
It definitely shouldn't have a theater release.
Yes.
But straight to streaming, it works. It's got a niche market.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very bottom,
oh gosh,
this is reserved for movies. Hey, you haven't seen it? Don't waste your time
or money seeing this in theaters at all.
Not even if it was $1.99 on iTunes. Tell us what you think of our rating system.
Yeah.
This is the first time we're running a movie through it. I think they're great categories. I think they're really going to work.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, we've got the rating system. Where do you put Captain America: Brave New World?
You want to say it at once?
Yeah,
you want to count it down?
3, 2, 1.
Straight to streaming.
Yeah,
or in this case, Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Just put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Like you said, might as well be just 5 additional episodes of Falcon Winter Soldier.
Season 2, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Honestly, I think it's fitting for this category. You know, seeing it in theater, you have some moments, but I think if I was sitting on my couch at home watching this, I'd be just as happy.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, this movie's tied to a theater release, which carries a lot of anticipation. This is the first time in a big Marvel movie we're seeing a new character come forth. Even though we know Sam, we're not seeing Sam as Cap.
Yeah.
So this is important, and it has a lot of anticipation. I just don't think it lands. I think the dialogue, some of the action, the character development just doesn't work. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think it'd be a better time on your couch at home, like you said.
Yeah, just relax.
If you're down to see some cool action this weekend, you should go watch Winter Soldier.
You should.
Not this.
Not this one.
But hey, if you're down for like an underground spy thriller mystery,
yeah,
Civil War. Go watch Civil War because it's not happening here.
But thank you guys for joining us here in the movie theater parking lot. The conversation continued even though the movie ended. And check us out on YouTube. We've got TikTok. We've got Instagram. Follow us there. We'd love a follow. We'd really appreciate it. And
also, this weekend on Saturday, we're going to be filming our official spoiler review discussion. We're going to be getting into a lot of the nitty-gritty of this movie, our thoughts. We get to go way more in depth on certain things. So definitely tune in for that if you're interested.
Yeah. And thanks again, guys, for joining us for our parking lot take.
All right.